say to a chorus of crickets. Oh, we have one person. Hello, person. So, as I mentioned last time, and in the description of the video, we will be doing grammar mainly. However, we will be doing some phonological revision because I put this thing on the Conlang Discord network project, and someone pointed out that M is not a very common sound, or even if it is an actual phoneme in and of itself. And if we are trying to get this to Minecraft, into such a big thing, we might want to not use such a weird sound. And yeah, so we're probably going to want to change this labiodental from a labiodental to approximate. Yep. I would dart. That was just my brother handing me my sweater. Have to do the IPA thing. Type it .org. IPA full. Hear my brother and the guy plumber in the background probably. Okay, so you might want to replace this with something like that. Which, again, isn't a very common sound, but it's a sound found in more languages than M, at least. The only problem is it's too close to W. So we might want to do a different sound than W. Especially if we're going to be nasalizing the approximates as allophones. Hello, hello, new people. So if you're just joining in, I am getting rid of the labiodental nasal due to a recommendation from someone on the Conlang Discord network, where I'm putting up the project for people to view, where it's not a very common sound, or even, and it's still debated if it should be seen as its own phoneme. And if we're trying to get this Conlang into Minecraft, we might not want such a weird sound. If anyone can think of a good replacement for it, then feel free to leave it down below. But until then, we'll probably just keep it. Is the easiest thing. And then another part is rethinking the vowels. I'm happy with the system we have of 2 base vowels that contrast with length, and an oral versus nasal split. But I think having both pharyngealized and rhotic vowels might be a bit hard to distinguish. And so we might want to change one of these things, probably the pharyngeals, into a more distinct quality. So why do you keep going to mobile view? So in order to do that, let us look at the different qualities one can have. There's obviously height, backness and roundness, front raised and retracted, nasalization, we already have that, phonation, tenseness, can't really do that with R's, can't really do reduced vowels either. Maybe replace the pharyngealized with breathy voice. Someone else recommended that when we were initially doing vowels. The only problem I can see is it would contrast with our aspirated stops. Do 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 do. Thinking. I cannot think. Honestly, no idea what modal voice actually entails, but maybe these can still be pharyngealized, but they are just round. They also undergo rounding. This will make them more distinct from the rhotic vowels and easier to hear. Which would be quite nice and would make sense with pharyngealization. At least having it go further back in the vowel track. No, I want IPA full. Dun, 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 dun. Then I want... Oh. Already pre-nasalized for me, that's great. So those would also be rounded and slightly pulled back, actually. Why don't we do that? Or actually, if it's also rounded, then there. Oh, more people. So if you're just joining us, we are revising the phonology slightly. We are making the pharyngealized vowels slightly more distinct from those of the rhotic vowels. And if you didn't see the beginning, I am also contemplating replacing the mung labiodental nasal with something more common, something more easier to pronounce for people. As someone on Discord pointed out, that if we're trying to get this into Minecraft or in front of a bunch of people, it might be better to have phonemes that people know can pronounce better. So, yeah, if you have any ideas of what we could replace the mung with, then feel free to leave them in the comments below. And for the vowels, for pharyngeals, we just backed them and rounded them to make them more distinct from the rhotics. And then I think that will be it for romanization. So from there we can go on to thinking about more. One sec, we also need to think about nasal spreading. I mentioned we'd do that last time, so we'll do it now. Nasal spreading. If you can hear hammering in the background, work still being done on the bathroom, so nasality spreads throughout a word and is blocked by stops and affricates. This seems less like nasal spreading and more like nasal harmony. But we will go with everything should be 14 in size. Everything should not be 14 in size. Oh no. I'll have to run. Try to survive as long as I can. A retroflex N. The only problem with that is that we don't have any other retroflexes. And while with manners of articulation, it's quite common to have only one type of sound in there, for place of articulation, it's much less common to have only one sound, and you're more likely to have a group of sounds underneath the place of articulation. So if we did that, we might want to also add in the retroflex stops. Is there a retroflex D in Irish? I know there's a dental D, but I didn't realize there was a... I know I probably shouldn't be using Wikipedia to view this stuff, but it's a quick little thing that's helpful. Sure, that'd actually be quite helpful. But if we do want to replace it with another nasal, we could just as easily do the palatal nasal, which, again, nasal, and we have the y already. And then we should not. We'll keep it with. Okay, why aren't you? Why aren't you typing? There we go. So we will keep the v for the palatal nasal. We're switching the labiodental over to a palatal nasal. We'll also shift that f forwards. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. That makes a bit more sense. There it is. We'll shift that forwards and get rid of that. Copy, paste, delete. And there we go. Slightly revised phonology. I think we're happy with this for now. If you have any other suggestions or ideas, feel free to leave them in the chat, like Kashiti did? Kashiti? How do you pronounce your name? Kashiti. Anyway, so nasal spreading. Nasality spreads throughout a word and is blocked by stops and affricates. It spreads rightwards, meaning, and is triggered by both nasal stops and nasalized vowels. So what this means is that if we have a word that isn't nasalized, most kshitage. Pillagers will speak a related language that is mutually unintelligible with Herng. So let's see. Oh. Well, I guess we'll get to that when we get to it. But I can give a quick example without any words. So if we have non-nasal consonant vowel, and then we have a nasal consonant, every vowel after that will be nasalized. Or if we have a consonant, vowel, consonant, nasalized vowel, again, every vowel after that will be nasalized unless it is intervened by a stop or a fricative. You guys saw nothing. Now, as always said, fricatives. Oh god, my chair is so squeaky. So this will be our examples. Bold that. Bold that. Okay, so here we have the basis of our nasal spreading. And it will also go to particles, postpositions, and all that jazz. Just use this as a mark for me right now. Okay, so romanization. So we're happy with phonology for now. If you see it, again, have any suggestions, leave it in the chat. If you have an idea after the stream, you can leave it in the comments of this video. Or you can go to the Herng project on the Conlang Discord network and leave it down there as well. So now, grammar. Yes, more grammar. Let us think about adjectives and relative clauses, because they can either be very similar in nature or they can be very different in nature. And we want to figure out how different or how similar. So last time we decided that adjectives would go before the noun. Oh, I just realized we also put the relative clause after the noun. Oh, we didn't change that from when I copied it over. So do, or, now I know a lot about relative clauses because of the video I made. We could do the embedded type, where you don't separate the noun from the clause, but you embed the whole clause itself. What that would mean, let me just create a quick little guide for people to better understand what I'm talking about. So merge all these. So if you haven't seen my relative clause video, there are a few ways, oh, sorry, hit my microphone. There are a few ways one can make a relative clause. You could just place the verb next to the thing. So walking home here is the relative clause and uses, and the man is the subject for it. Another way is through the man who is walking home is dead. Here we place it next to it, but we also use a relative pronoun. So the who here marks the man as the subject. Another way, now these two are basically the way of doing relative clauses in English. Another way is just taking it right next to the and not the antecedent, the head, without adding anything, not modifying the verb or adding a relative pronoun. And then the final way is the way that confuses most people, as it is the man walks home is dead, where the relative clause is a full sentence that can stand on its own, and then that sentence is used as the subject or object or whatever of the verb. And this way is kind of common in Japanese and a few other languages that I can't remember the names of right now. And I think it is the most interesting method, but also the hardest method for people to wrap their heads around. So, which one should we do? Okay, we are going to I'm just going to create this into a poll for now. Wow, I went over the character limit for that. So, pardon the bad spelling, there's a character limit on the polls for this. So I'll leave that up for 3 viewers. And I'll come back to that in a bit after we figure out adjectives, which I think adjectives would simply be best as just placing them next to the noun, before the noun. So we could say we don't have any adjectives. Minecraft color blocks. So if I remember correctly, Minecraft has 16 hard color blocks, which we could use as the Minecraft concrete. White, orange, magenta. Yeah, we can use these as our base colors. 16 base colors. That is insane, but we will do it. So red, orange, yellow. We will just do this for now. Oh. And quickly think up of words we can use. We could use ni, nga. Oh shoot, these are meant to go over here. Nga. And since it's a nasal consonant, we probably don't have to mark the nasalization on the vowel itself. Nga. No? And don't have an O sound, do we? Na, na, no. But we do have pharyngalization there. And then ya, yali, yali. I do know I'm just basically mixing that off of yellow, but it will be good enough for now. So adjectives are just placed before the nouns they modify. Maybe we'll go full Vietnamese like on this. So merge these horizontally. Okay, so let's do red apple. Whoops, that shouldn't be happening. So nya, nyanga, nyanga, apple, red apple. Since V is a nasal, we don't need that there. Okay, so nyanga. Nope. So that's our Do we want to add a modifier? I mean, if we wanted to add a modifier, it'd be simple to just take this one key here. Nyaki. Okay, I'll leave that up. I'll have that decided later. But since I'm gonna do adjectives after the noun, I can probably keep the relative clauses after the noun as well. And has anyone voted on the thing? No one has voted on the thing. I'll just end that poll. And instead, choose the old-fashioned way. Number between 1 and 4. 2. We are doing the participle method, the adjectival method. Simple enough. So, relative clause and adjectives come after, and we're doing the participle or adjectival method for relative clauses, which means that we can probably view adjectives as a type of verb in this language. The only verb we have is her. So let us quickly create two new words. Let's think of the words to lie down and to eat. These shouldn't be too hard. Let's just go with oh, but isn't that my numeral? That's sa. So si for lie down. Don for to eat. And so going into relative, oh, I did not mean to delete that. I meant to insert more rows below. Okay, remind me later, why does it keep doing that only during my stream? Modify. So her villager apple eat rel lie down. So her va dans nya dans kia no, we need to figure out where to put the post positions in this case. Dans qui se. So since it's the villager is the agent of both sentences. Oh no, this will be much harder to think about than I was initially planning. Since we have post positions to worry about going into this. Let me copy these and bring them down here as well so I can just see them easier. So we could, if the sense of both the agent, place ya afterwards there for the voice, and then ki there, ni there. That would be fairly logical to do. But then what do we do for if the sentence is like so this is a villager then an apple what do you do in a situation like this? This would get quite clunky quite quickly. So let's just to fall. Gotta think of a verb for that. Car. A car. 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 There we go. So this would be something like apple, villager, agent, eat, patient, then voice mark fall. Actually, this one might walk. It's just very, very clunky. So nya, her, nya her, don, ki, shoot, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Donkey. Because if we have the relative marker and then we also have the patient suffix followed by the voice marker, and then we have the main verb of the sentence. That is quite clunky to look at, if I am being honest. So maybe it'd be better to have the adjectives before. Because as much as I'd love to have them afterwards, that doesn't seem like much I can do with it without making it absolute mess. So before the nouns they modify. So grab this. Yeah goes after that. So apple, eat, relative, voice mark, apple, eat, relative. This should have a patient. Nyada. Patient there. Apple. Patient, eat, rel. Villager, VM, lie down. Okay. And then for this one, maybe it will be better to villager agent eat rel. Sorry about that. My sister was calling me to say she was making hash browns. So, villager agent eat rel. We could just make this simple and just use context for that. Apple, voice mark, eat a fall. Agent. So, oh no, that would be yeah, okay. So that's what that would look like. Gosh darn it, what? I feel like it's missing something. But I think that should be good enough. We just don't mark. We leave the space empty in the relative clause for the head noun. And then, yeah. So those are our relative nouns, our relative clauses. We have our adjective clauses. Adjectives in our language will follow the East Asian tradition of being stative verbs, meaning that they can be the predicate. They can be the predicate. Oh, I just realized if we're doing symmetrical voice, we could have it so certain verbs take their subject as the patient when they're intransitive. So like falling could take so falling could be seen as something that's happening to an object, not what an object is doing. That is an interesting idea that we could play with. And then the stative verbs, adjectives, in order to make something, the apple is red. Oof. Why are they so large? The apple is red. We could mark that as something, as a subject being the indirect. So, nya, nyaya, nyaya, nga, nga mi. So, apple, voice mark, red, oblique. And that's how, what that would mean though, is that adjectives will have to follow the voice patterns, or the pitch patterns of verbs, meaning that they're low when positive and high when negative, or am I getting that backwards? Where did I put this grammatical bit? Wait, did I not record this? I thought I wrote this down somewhere. Planning. High tone for positive, low tone for negative. Okay. I am getting this backwards. Sell trade. Nga. No. No. Yali. Si. Don. Don. Car. Car. So the verb is high. It's good. Ngaki. Nya. Just going to make sure I mark that everywhere where it should be marked. And I think that is a good place to end for today. We figured out the basis for our adjectives, for when they're modifying and for when they're the predicate. We've also figured out the basis for our relative clauses and how those function, which is quite a bit more work I got done today than I was originally anticipating. Though now this sheet is a mess, and it is kind of hard to look at. So I think before next Monday's stream, I will clean this up so it's a bit better to look at. I'm not going to make it look fancy, as we're still going to be working on it, but it won't be so all over the place. Yeah. So I think we're going to be done with that. If you want to keep up with the Conlang and you miss a stream in the future, you can follow the Conlang creation process on the Conlang Discord, Conlang's Discord network, CDN. You can just find it, it's a public network. And you can follow my project down in projects. I'll be posting everything we did there today on here. And yeah, if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments below or leave them in the project page for this language. And with that, I bid you all adieu.